Sometimes smart people say dumb things. And that is the case with Mr. Wet Ass P Word, aka Ben Shapiro. Case in point, this little gem from Shapiro's appearance on the Joe Rogan show a couple of days ago. But before I proceed with this rebuttal, I would just like to introduce myself. My name is Jennifer, and today we're just gonna be reviewing a little clip from Shapiro's appearance on the Joe Rogan show. Sorry that I repeat myself, but he went in and said a bunch of things that made no sense. And I decided to review this particular little clip because he mentions Ayn Rand, and this is a Millennial Rand channel. I'm an Ayn Rand fan, and I don't like what he said, so we're gonna go over it. So let me give you some context. Before they started talking about this, they were talking about wealth production, income inequality, blah, 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 and a little bit of capitalism. So this is why he makes these comments that you're about to hear from him.
The more skilled people we have doing skillful things, the more cool things that we have on the market, right? We actually want to incentivize the guy who created the stupid thing that sold 1 billion units, because that's going to bring the price of that thing down, because people are going to now compete in that market to undercut that guy, and they're going to develop new products in that market, which is why a poor person now lives better than the King of France did in 1300.
Okay, so far he hasn't said anything bad, anything wrong, anything controversial. He is obviously trying to sell the idea of capitalism as capitalism is good because it benefits everybody, right? That's the point he's trying to make right here, because he's explaining how the more products people create, even if people have to pay for them, they're still better off that these products now exist because they make their lives better. So I definitely agree with him on that point. But now he's gonna go ahead and try to sell capitalism by basically saying it's something it's not, and just because he wants to appeal to, I guess, the liberal crowd in a sense. So just hear what he says.
Right. That's because of all that innovation, the positive externalities of us rewarding innovation and effort and intelligence are very high. So you say that's not fair. On a moral level, maybe it's not fair. Maybe if you were God, you could figure out a different way that would make it more fair, where it was based purely on how many hours of sweat labor you put into a thing. The problem is that if you actually try to create a system where you reward people based on the pure number of sweat hours they put into things, it's a wildly negative externality, because now you're incentivizing people to just put in work at the thing that is the easiest for them to do, without regard to pleasing anybody else, without regard to trying to create a product, good, or service that somebody else will willingly buy from you.
Right.
This is why when people say that capitalism is...
Okay, so from that point he just made, I do not see how it is immoral to be paid for how much value you produce instead of how many hours you work, right? It would be a different thing if there was a floating piggy bank in the sky and that's where money comes from. Then maybe you could argue that, sure, people should get paid by their effort, if that's the only way to judge the value of their work, how many hours they spend working. The piggy bank doesn't care. The piggy bank is just rewarding your man hours. But that's not how things work. The entity rewarding you for your production, your value, is other people. It's not a piggy bank in the sky. So other people decide if your work is valuable to them or not. So it's gonna be different for each person, how they value your work, right? How much they want to pay for your work, or how much they want to exchange with you. So yeah, I don't know why he's saying that capitalism might be immoral, because it's not. It's fair. And then let's keep watching.
Right.
This is why when people say that capitalism it's selfish and it's non-altruistic, I've been ripped by the Ayn Rand crowd for saying this, but it actually is a form of forced altruism.
Okay. People say that capitalism is selfish and is non-altruistic. Yes, people say that because it's true. But then he is saying that he thinks capitalism is a form of forced altruism. And I know he's just saying this because he wants to sell capitalism as a good idea to people who love altruism. So he's like, people love altruism. I can just say that capitalism is forced altruism. Then they're gonna like it. But it's not forced altruism, is not altruism at all. If you understand the meaning of words, altruism means sacrifice. And in capitalism, there's absolutely no sacrifice involved. It's just an exchange of goods or an exchange of values, an exchange of products, an exchange of services. There is no sacrifice involved in capitalism. But I think he's trying to use the word altruism because people usually associate altruism with you sacrifice something, but then something good comes of it, right? Like there is some good involved in it. For example, somebody donates all their money even though they don't want to, and now they are on the street, but they saved about 100 people from going hungry. So then there was something good that happened with that sacrifice, right? So, but with capitalism, you do not need sacrifice. Nobody needs to lose something in order for someone else to have something good happen to them. In capitalism, it's a win-win situation. You have an apple, but you want 2 bananas that someone else has. You exchange it. Now they have the apple, and you have the 2 bananas. You didn't lose anything. You traded what you didn't need, what you could live without, for something that you really wanted, that you needed, and that you wanted to have to improve your life, right? Capitalism is win-win. There is no sacrifice involved. So the fact that he's using this word to try to describe it, forced altruism, is completely wrong. Yes, good things happen when you engage in trade, when you engage in capitalism, which is trade. Good things happen to both parties and to all the parties involved out there in the world trading with each other. But none of it involves sacrifice of any kind. So there's no altruism involved. Let's keep watching.
Okay, if I create a product, a good, or a service, and nobody wants to buy it, but I really satisfied myself, that's selfish.
Okay, yes, if you create a product that you really believed in and nobody wants to buy it, but you are satisfied emotionally, mentally, you produce something that you believed in. Yes, it is selfish because it is self-interested and it advances your self-fulfillment. Even though nobody wants to buy it, which is not that beneficial to you, but yes, it is self-interested. But in this instance, he's trying to use the word selfish in a way that is like, selfish is bad. Why would you just want to satisfy yourself? You should be trying to satisfy the world by creating a product that people do want to buy, not just by creating a product that only you are happy with. And in that case, I obviously disagree with him. Sure, it will be better to create a product that you yourself love and that people want to buy. But if you created a product that you still love, even if other people haven't discovered their value or whatever, I mean, it's still good because it's an individual achievement. There's nothing wrong in the fact that it is selfish. Anyways, let's keep watching.
What's not selfish is I now create a product, good, or service. I now have to provide something to you that you want, and you have to provide something to me that I want.
He says that what is not selfish is creating a product that somebody wants that he can exchange for something that he wants. Yes, that is also selfish because you have a product that you're gonna exchange with someone for something that you want, that is going to make you happy, is going to enrich yourself, if it's making you happy, is selfish. You get how he is completely misunderstanding the meaning of words, or actually twisting them. I don't know if he's doing it unintentionally or on purpose, but he's completely twisting the meaning of words. And I think he's just saying, oh, this is not selfish only because at that moment, by you exchanging the product with the other person benefited from it. So he's gonna probably make the argument that you just participated in forced altruism, which is not, because you didn't sacrifice anything. You just exchanged something. It would be forced altruism if you gave your product away and didn't get anything in return. Then you just lost something and didn't get anything for it. And of course, yeah, the other person benefited. So something good happened, but only to one party, not to you too. So let's keep listening to him.
Right? This is mutual altruism. You have provided me something I want.
Here's an argument against it.
Sure.
Oh, Ben Shapiro. Well, that was a very short clip, and I think, it's pretty clear how he was using words in a way that they shouldn't be used, because that is not their meaning. I think he's trying to appeal to the general view people have of selfishness as something bad, and the general view people have of altruism as something good, even though if you really think about it, like, altruism means sacrificing someone's life, sacrificing someone's livelihood, blah, blah, blah. I mean, for instance, one way of forced altruism are the stimulus checks we are all getting, or a lot of us are getting, or a lot of people are getting these stimulus checks from the government. That, I would say, is a form of forced altruism, because sure, some people are benefiting from it. There's a benefit to the people who suddenly open their bank account and there's $600 in there, like, oh yeah, I have $600 to spend on something. But it is altruism because something was sacrificed to give you that benefit, and the sacrifice is all those people who had to pay for it in the form of taxes. Those taxes are the product of their labor. Like, basically they had to work so many hours for free so that now you could have $600 in the bank. That would be forced altruism. However, this wasn't the only dumb thing he said during this podcast, or the only questionable thing he said. He said one more thing. I mean, he said many more things, but I didn't watch the whole podcast. I only watched a little excerpt, and this is something else I caught. Let me play it for you.
Stay home either. I think this is another part.
That may be fair.
There's another factor when, we talk about people with anxiety and depression and all these different things that haunt people today. I don't think it's a coincidence that this society has made it where we don't value trying to work hard and solve things and do things that are difficult. Because I think in the pursuit of doing things that are difficult, your mind becomes engaged. You have a lot of commitment to these tasks. You have a lot of investment in it. And if you succeed, you feel great. I mean, this is a real factor.
No, this is totally right.
I'm not dismissing.
Okay, so Joe Rogan is speaking first, and he's making a point that sure, like, yes, engaging in hard work or in any work of any kind is gonna produce some sort of reward. The more challenging the work is, sometimes it's more rewarding. It depends on what it is. Like, if it is work that you wanted to do, that you were interested in, like, because it would also be very challenging to mop a whole stadium, a giant stadium. It would be very challenging, but it wouldn't be rewarding because it's not the type of work most people are interested in. So it depends obviously on the type of work, but yes. But then Ben Shapiro is gonna try to sell it again to the liberal crowd. Like, obviously Ben Shapiro is pro hard work, pro personal achievement, but it bothers me how he keeps trying to lump it together, or how Ayn Rand called it, a package deal. Put it in a package deal with other concepts to try to see if the liberal crowd will fall for it. Not the liberal crowd. Okay, I keep saying the liberal crowd, but I guess people who don't enjoy work, who are anti-work. He's trying to sell them this idea by adding in concepts that have nothing to do with it. Let's hear it.
Dismissing genetic predispositions for depression and anxiety and a lot of
there's some people who need medication,
yes,
for sure.
100%.
For sure.
But working hard and doing something that's difficult is actually good for you. It makes you feel better.
Well, I totally agree with this. And I think that as a society, one of the things that we've done is we've demeaned duty.
It's starting. He is trying to package the concept of hard work, work that you choose, work that you want to do, even though it's hard, with duty. Duty, it's something different. They both include effort and stuff like that, but duty is something that you didn't choose, something imposed on you, sometimes in a way that you have a saying like somebody comes to you and says, take care of this abandoned child I saw on the street, and you don't have any means to take care of it, but you're like, it's my duty, so you're gonna take care of this child or not. You know, you have the choice, and you can tell them, you know what, I really don't have the means nor the inclination to take care of this abandoned child. I'm sorry, but no thanks. You know, and then there's other duties where you don't have choice, like let's say you're a 16-year-old and you lose your entire family in a car wreck, and unfortunately they didn't leave you any inheritance. So now your reality is that you're gonna have to work much harder than other 16-year-olds to make it in life. I guess you could argue that's some sort of like duty, your duty to rise above your circumstances, and that one you cannot say no to. Like it's either do it or perish. But the concept of duty is much more different than the concept of work that you choose, even though it's hard, because there will be a reward that you want to get from doing that work. And with duty, when you perform a duty imposed on you, there's no reward at the end of that. You just fulfill the duty, and maybe you help someone along the way, but you don't get a personal reward in itself. So let's keep going.
The duty is bad. If you have an obligation or a duty, that's because something in society has put something upon you, because
Right.
duty and obligation are placed upon you. But here's the thing. If you willingly undertake a duty or obligation, or even if you don't, even if there's just a duty or obligation that is put upon you by life, not by like some evil person out there who's trying to hurt you, but by actual life, because life is filled with hardship and terrible things, you actually facing up to a problem and then defeating the problem or fighting the problem, it makes you stronger. It makes you more confident. It makes
Gives
you a
you
better
meaning.
person. Exactly.
Sure. What he's saying, you know, part of it, yes, is true. When you accomplish a duty, when you accomplish hard work or even a duty that you didn't choose, you're gonna learn things along the way. You're gonna probably become a better person because you learn how to overcome challenges and do things in better ways, because you learn from your mistakes, learn from experience, blah, blah, blah. So yes, you advance as a person, you learn things, you gain knowledge, but that doesn't mean you should welcome these duties that you don't want, that you shouldn't just accept them just because you say, you know what, there will be something, I'll learn something along the way. No, you should, as much as you can, reject those duties and try to focus on choosing work that you want to do, even if it's hard, because yes, you will get a reward once you accomplish it and you succeed, but you will also learn things along the way, just like you would if you were probably doing some duty that you didn't choose. But this is something that you chose, so why would you want to waste your time learning things along the way of doing something you don't want, when you can spend that time learning things along the way doing something that you want?
And exactly. It does make you a better person, because very often you have to become a stronger and more capable human being in order to overcome those problems.
Wow. Well, yes. So as you can tell, he is a fan of individual accomplishments, hard work, capitalism, all of that. But it is problematic, extremely problematic, that he's guilty of package dealing, trying to sell the concept of personal achievement and hard work with the concept of duty, as everything is good, even though they're completely separate things. Sorry about that. And the same way he's doing package dealing capitalism, because he loves capitalism, but he's packaging it with the concept of altruism. It has nothing to do with it. So somebody tell Ben Shapiro that he needs to really learn the meaning of words, and just don't be afraid to talk about capitalism and say that capitalism is selfish, and that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And that capitalism is not altruism, and that is not a bad thing. That it's a good thing, that is not altruistic. And in the same way, it is good that personal achievement and hard work are also selfish, because you are the one who chooses to engage on certain things. And then and he needs to understand that there is nothing novel on doing work that you didn't choose, on doing work that you were forced to do by society or whatever. Unless, of course, it was like the kind of duty that cannot be escaped, like the example I gave of the 16-year-old who just loses his family and now he has to raise above his circumstances one way or the other. Although maybe there is a better way to explain that specific tragedy. Anyways, that was all from me today. My first time talking about Ben Shapiro, Mr. Wet-Ass P-Word. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.